But if you are mourning the loss of the Ayatollah, you might not be a terrorist, but my God, you are terrorist adjacent.
Just like anyone who supports Donald Trump, you may not be a paedophile, but you're definitely a paedophile adjacent.
I'm as real as a real can get. What you see?
Buongiorno freaks and geeks, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're keeping yourself sane and safe in these very uncertain times. So we're almost a week into Israel and America's assault on Iran. And one of the first things these terrorist states did, apart from, murdering a school full of primary school children, they also obliterated the supreme leader, who wasn't only the supreme leader of Iran, but also the spiritual leader for Shia Muslims in the world, which numbers at least 200 million. So naturally, at least, 95% of those 200 million are going to feel a type of sadness that their spiritual leader has been erased. It'll be like Catholics mourning the death of their Pope. But this reaction somehow doesn't seem reasonable to GB News. So we're going to look at a video featuring some of their, best pundits they have to offer on the issue of mourning such a figure in the Muslim world. But before I press play, please don't forget to like, subscribe. It really helps out the channel and I really appreciate the support.
Shall we ask my panel what they think about all of this? I wonder what they think. Joining me tonight, I've got Director of Popular Conservatives, Mark Littlewood, journalist and broadcaster Nina Mishkov, and activist and pub landlord Adam Brooks is here. Mark, I'll start with you. The Prime Minister, just after the by-election, slammed the Green Party in the House of Commons for pandering.
Yeah.
Pandering to sectarianism. And there he is again, last night, seemingly, it looked like they were nozzling each other there.
Yeah.
I just love when GB News put these random slabs of meat in a suit and have them thinking that they are the top lawyer from Suits, when in reality, they're not even Saul Goodman. Who the hell is this dweeb? And him trying to describe the interaction between, Keir Starmer and the Palestinian ambassador to the UK is partly for laughs, but also, what does that even mean?
The ambassador for Palestine and the Prime Minister, and then having to bring up Iraq and Gaza. Is it pandering?
Yes, it's just that Keir Starmer's pandering is a bit less blatant than Zach Polanski's, but they're both in the pandering game.
Really?
But it doesn't sound like it's less obvious because your head guy there just alluded to them nozzling. I guess he means kissing in public. Yeah, great joke, dude. Great joke.
She said in English.
And I rather agree with you. It seems to me it's evident that that's the case when it's a Ramadan meeting. Why speak about foreign policy?
Yeah.
Had he just spoken
talk about religion?
Yeah, talk about religion.
Yeah.
So you're accepting a sectarianism when that becomes the content of your remarks. Had he just said, I wish you all, I hope Ramadan goes well for all of you, then it's almost ceremonial, but he's not. He's made it political.
I don't know if these individuals over at GB News are aware, but politics and religion are explicitly linked. This country, for instance, our head of state is King Charles, but he also is the head of the Church of England. Every new law in this country is ascended by royal descent. So all this separating politics and religion is very silly, and you're being very disingenuous that Keir Starmer is going to attend a ceremony in support of the month of Ramadan. I think it might have actually been an iftar, so when Muslims break their fast when the sun sets, and for him to try and go there and not mentioning what is happening in the Middle East, you know how silly that is, right? That would be almost it would be impossible. But again, here is GB News being slick as usual.
And he's made it about foreign policy. And this is getting dangerous. We are tolerating rather too much. I mean, you've announced these, you referenced, Alex, these vigils that are happening. I mean, can you imagine if some hard right-wing group on the anniversary of, I don't know, Adolf Hitler's death organised some vigil with posters of Hitler? They would be right on the terrorist watch list.
Yep.
That's not the same thing.
Adolf Hitler, murdered millions of Jews. Also tried to take over the whole of Europe. I don't know if you can accuse the Ayatollah of doing even anything similar. That's just really weird. And I would love to get this individual's opinion on, statues being pulled down of slave owners, individuals that owned other human beings. I bet he would get his panties in a right old twist.
And I think that's how we should treat that. If you are mourning the loss of this barbaric medieval mass murderer, then I think that should draw you to the attention of the authorities. If you're protesting against military action, that's a little bit different. I wouldn't agree with you, but that's a fair point to make. But if you are mourning the loss of the Ayatollah, you might not be a terrorist, but my God, you are terrorist adjacent.
Just like anyone who supports Donald Trump, you may not be a paedophile, but you're definitely a paedophile adjacent.
It's scary, Adam. It's scary, Adam, because when you see what that regime has done to people in Iran, but then also what it's sent over here to us in Britain, you think to yourself, not only are we at war, by the way, with these people, can you imagine if there was mournings for Hitler and you were saying a similar thing, Mark, after World War II or during World War II?
That's not the same thing.
The uproar. How have we got to this point in Britain where this is happening?
What are you talking about? There's people in Britain right now who have Nazi tattoos on them, who do the Nazi salute. This all happens and they're allowed to go about their daily life. Most of which probably attend a Tommy Robinson march. Are you going to advocate for Tommy Robinson never to be allowed to march again? I don't think so.
I'll tell you why we've got to this point and the head of it now is showing, is because we have a Labour government that panders to extremism. We have a Labour government that is refusing to prescribe the IGRC as a terrorist group.
Is a part of a government. What would prescribing them a terrorist organisation really do? I mean, if this guy could give me a functional definition of terrorism, maybe I could, I don't know, empathise with his position, but I don't think he knows what he's talking about.
Nearly every other Western country has done that. Why has Keir Starmer not done that? He's weak and they're scared of the Muslim vote.
This is so scary.
What does that mean, scared of the Muslim vote? Wait, should they not want to get the Muslim vote? Or are you saying that Muslims shouldn't have a right to vote? I'm just really confused, because if Keir Starmer went out of his way and said, we hate Winston Churchill, the same Winston Churchill that called Islam a beastly religion and contributed to a famine in Bengal. There are people right now who rightfully want to piss on his grave. But if Keir Starmer puts Winston Churchill on a pedestal, would it be allowed to say he is pandering to your vote?
But going back to these universities, this is the last straw for me. This is disgusting. These institutions are poisoning the minds of our young people. They will not even accept a reform candidate or a reform person to come and debate on their campus. They wet themselves and throw their toys out the pram.
The irony of a man throwing his toys out of the pram, saying that students are throwing their toys out of the pram. You cannot make this up.
Like little babies. But no, this is fine. To mourn a man that's killed 40,000 of his own people in 2 months, that has threatened Britain, America and Israel. This man is a monster and they're allowing it. I think, as Mark said, these should be on the terrorist watch list. But the thing that's really disturbing is half the people that will go to these university vigils are probably middle-class, white wallies in keffirs.
So, who is your problem? It sounds like everyone at this point. It's the Muslims, it's the young people, it's the middle-class people, it's the middle-class white people, it's the people wearing kaffirs. Is there anyone that this guy does like at this very point? And on the point of the Ayatollah being responsible for 40,000 deaths of his own people, that is absolutely disgusting. But still, that does not justify Israel and America going in and bombing everyone. The fact that the Ayatollah has said death to Israel, death to America, death to the UK does not justify Israel and America going in and dropping bombs everywhere. Get over yourselves right now.
Yeah.
And that is the truth. They are brainwashed in this country.
I think that's a big part of the problem here. I don't want to point the finger just at Muslim people, because it's not just... And there's plenty of Muslim people, by the way, who think this is abhorrent.
I know some.
Absolutely abhorrent. I want to say that for the record.
Yes, and this is a good time to highlight that, as I mentioned in the previous video, GB News is funded by a company that has its head office in Dubai or the UAE. The UAE, Saudi Arabia, all of these countries are Sunni. They are diametrically opposed to Shia Muslims. So his paymasters right now won't be upset that he is saying this. They have a vested interest in destroying the reputation of Iran. And this stems from the many proxy battles Saudi Arabia, Iran, I guess the UAE as well, have been in. So it's very slick that GB News doesn't want to paint all Muslims like this.
Nina, do you think the Green Party and Labour are pandering for sectarian votes?
I don't know about the Green Party, but I don't think Labour is particularly. As for mourning the death of Khomeini, that to me is abhorrent, and I agree with everything that everybody has said about Khomeini, of course, and slaughtering his own people is just horrendous. But let's bring it back to religion, because this is basically what it's about. It's about the Muslim religion and the Christian religion. Now, I don't adhere to any religion. I think religion is the cause of all the problems, or most of the problems in the world.
That's a good point.
I'm just trying to equate it to supposing somebody assassinated the Pope. So Catholics would mourn.
The Pope hasn't killed anyone.
No.
That's awkward.
Lads, you're doing too much now, because when everyone else spoke up to that point, everyone was respectful, everyone was silent, everyone allowed the contributor to get out their point in full. Nina's barely touched 30 seconds and everyone's shouting over her. I know the first three guys say they oppose the leadership in Iran, and they would probably list oppression of women as one of the reasons they don't like Iran in a woke liberal way. But the fact that they are shutting down the only woman on the panel, Nina, right now, for pointing out quite a obvious comparison. If the Pope was assassinated, you know, the same Pope that leads over the Catholic Church which is a paedophile ring and moves priests more than Jose Mourinho if they're caught doing something bad, the Pope presides over that. So there are lots of reasons to also hate the Catholic Church. So let Nina get her point out and leave her alone.
I understand where you're coming. Let me just say, I understand where you're coming from, but the Pope doesn't run a country that has a military and all those things.
I understand
and those
that.
people obviously have that context, and a lot of them are born here in the UK.
I understand that completely. I'm just trying to say this as a religion grips people by the soul, and so therefore they are blind to other things. But looking at those vigils and the candlelit things and the sort of the tweets that were proliferating about them, none of them apart from one from I think a TV presenter in Iran who was an activist, anti-Zionist. The rest have been, they said, you know, come to this candlelit vigil. They didn't say bring knives, bring gloves. They said bring food. Bring your wives. So you can't just
Should we allow
condemn them.
Should we allow it?
In a word, yes, you should definitely allow it, because as I can't believe I'm agreeing with Nina right now. We probably disagree on every other political point, but as Nina's highlighting, they're saying just come together and remember the spiritual leader of the Shia Islam. Nothing wrong with that. They're not saying, come on, bring all your weapons, we're about to go and smash up the Israeli embassy right now. And something I should have highlighted earlier, why have we got a live feed of Jerusalem, Israel? Like, you do realize that it is Iran that is the victims here, and the only reason Israel is in a state of emergency is because they attacked Iran first. But anyway, we're getting sidetracked.
Do you think it should be allowed on the streets of London? I mean, we are at war with that man who, I mean, he only lasted, 4 hours of this war, despite talking up for decades.
We all know you're a big, tough guy.
Yeah, well done, mate. You know that he stayed in his country and he's up against the most powerful military, not only in the Middle East, but on the face of the planet, in human history. And you're boasting that he only lasted 4 hours. What a wet wipe you are.
But we are at war with that country. We wouldn't accept if we were at war with Putin having a mourning of Putin in London, would we?
Putin invaded Ukraine. There you go.
Well, we are a country of free speech. We have to remember that.
Wait, did he just say it's too far? Now, for me, I'm a massive advocate of free speech. I detest hate speech. I detest inciting violence against anyone on the basis of their gender, skin color, religion, sexual preferences, gender expression, all of that. But this is a clear and cut example of freedom of expression, freedom of religion, freedom of speech. And someone in the background saying it's too far. Actually, just shut up for a moment and let Nina speak. Like, why are all these men interrupting Nina when she's just spitting hot facts at them?
You have to allow people.
Nina, would you allow a march through London of people sympathising with Putin after he died?
No,
do you think that would be okay?
They'd throw their toys out the pram.
He is obsessed.
What's his obsession with toys and prams? Where's the man? This guy. And the irony of a guy that he's literally at the same time throwing his toys at the pram, saying this is freedom of speech gone too far. Oh my gosh.
If there were Russians that wanted to do that, they are living in a country where free speech is allowed. Okay. And as long as they were not inciting violence.
Yeah, but hang on, this is the problem, isn't it?
Guys, let her speak. Like, Nina just dropping bars all over your head. And and you can't help but shut her down, because obviously you want to pretend that you're in favor of freedom of speech, but you're not. You wish you were able to have a theocracy like you're claiming Iran has. You want to have a dictatorship over the people based on some type of British culture, and anyone that doesn't abide by that, you want to slaughter them as well. It's very clear to me now.
And this is what makes it even worse than, say, mourning the death of Adolf Hitler.
I beg your pardon? I beg your pardon?
Did he just say this is worse than mourning the death of Adolf Hitler? I cannot wait with what he's going to hit us with next.
This is more akin to mourning the death of Osama bin Laden.
Sir, your racism is showing. Oh, brown man. Islam. Forget the fact that America is actually backing Al-Qaeda in Syria right now. Also, for him to say that Osama bin Laden's worse than Hitler is also a massive sign of brain-broken racism.
Whilst Al Qaeda are still a clear and
He
present.
wasn't a religious leader.
Right, but I don't care.
No, but they care.
Problem,
they care.
Well, they
it's
may
their religion.
care, but the
It's
problem,
their
Let's let
religion.
Mark-
You
let's
have
let
to
Mark
respect
finish. Let's
that.
let
they may care, and they may want, what was it we were hearing earlier on GB News, they may even want the 20 planned terrorist attacks on British soil conducted by the Iranians to succeed.
What a stupid thing to say. I mean, who in the history of supposedly supporting terrorism wishes that they are then a victim within terrorist attacks? Hey, just throw anything at the wall and see what sticks. And so far, nothing is sticking from the very peculiar gentleman, and only Nina is hitting the target right now.
They may care,
They may find them abhorrent. They may be.
I can't
Muslim.
see how you could find all of these things abhorrent and then mourn the death of
hear
this
from Adam,
man.
please.
We're talking about extremists.
Nina,
We're
just
talking
one
about
second, I wanna hear
extremists.
from-
I'll tell you what I find
Extremists.
bizarre. There are 6% of this country are Muslim. Yet this religion seems to be the most important thing in the minds of our politicians.
What are you saying? Literally.
Yeah, of course. The Muslim religion is the most important thing in the mind of politicians now. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Not the most
Almost
important
every
thing.
week.
It's
I do not
not.
understand
Nina, hang on, let
it.
Adam
And as I say, I respect everyone's right to their beliefs and their religion, whether you're Christian, Jewish, or Muslim.
So why can't politicians just think about Islam then? If you respect that, apparently, you have to preface whatever dribble you're about to say right now with that little tidbit. You're not slick, buddy. You're not slick.
I don't want religion to affect my daily life every day.
How does Islam affect your daily life every day? Give me one example, please. Please, I hope he gives one example now.
And at the moment, Labour are making that happen. It seems like they're prioritising the Muslim faith over everything else in this country.
How? Are they going to make you do Hajj to Mecca? Are they saying that you have to fast during the month of Ramadan? What exactly is this current Labour government doing that makes you feel they are forcing Islam down your throat? I would love to know.
That is such an extreme view, if you don't mind my saying. That is an extreme view.
Extreme view to say I respect people's religion. But
What are you talking about? You know she's not saying that. Everything else you said after that is extremism and stupidity, actually, because you can't even provide any examples of what you were trying to state. All right, mate.
I just don't want it in my face.
No. I'm saying you're saying the Labour government is making.
We've just seen a video of Keir Starmer.
He has to. He's a leader.
He doesn't have to do anything.
He has to meet other leaders. Of course, he has to meet the leaders. You can't just say he used to turn his back on a Muslim leader.
When's he going to have some tough words for them?
He might
doesn't seem to ever have some tough words.
What will tough words do when he's backed a genocide in Gaza, when he's actually providing material support to America and Israel in their assault on Iran? But you want tough words to follow that. Are you a complete psychopath?
Can I put this?
Let
me put this.
Well, you can say that. What was so wrong with what he said?
I don't want to get too
what
much
was so wrong with what he said?
Let me just put this to you, because I don't want to get too much into Keir Starmer's speech, because we've done it already. But I guess the problem I've got with it, Nina, is that he's there talking about wars in the Middle East, which makes me feel at a dinner for Ramadan, which is a religious occasion, that he's identifying those people are from ethnic backgrounds that descend or either from those countries. Therefore, that's pandering to them, and an event that's got nothing to do with war. He didn't need to make any statement about war last night.
If we are in a situation of war, if we are supposedly at war with Iran, it would be very bizarre if the Prime Minister turned up at a meeting OK, it's a religious meeting, and said nothing about it at all.
That's
that
my
would
point,
be
but that's
so,
proving my point,
so
isn't it?
Bizarre.
That's proving
So these
my
people
point.
aren't
You think
Iranians. They're just people that practice the Muslim faith.
Or they're just human beings that don't want to see other human beings being slaughtered by bombs. Has that ever popped into your mind? I know when it comes to GB News contributors, they only ever support people who look like them, that sound like them, that share the same faith of them, who believe in the same politics as them. But maybe you don't have to be Muslim to not want to see Iran being overrun by terrorist states like America and Israel.
Good luck to them. And
obvious for
again,
anything
I
with
want
Iran.
everyone to practice their faith. But what has this war got to do with that meeting last night?
The war has to do with everybody, and particularly people who come from that region and adjacent to that region.
No,
if they're not Iranian,
Nina,
it doesn't matter.
Let's go back 1 second to the vigils and the students marching through London. Do you think they should be allowed this weekend, Mark?
Not if it's mourning the death of the Ayatollah. As I say, there's a fine line, and I suspect there'll be a mix of oil and water, that some people will be having banners of the Ayatollah, others will just be peace protesters who don't support the military action. So hard to distinguish between those two, but important to.
OK, briefly.
Right, we can stop this now. Prescribe the IGRC as a terrorist group, like the rest of the West Ham.
I agree with that.
And we
agree.
can stop that. Then that will stop the rallies.
No,
because
it won't
they
stop the rallies.
They will not be able to support a terrorist group.
They are
we
not
know the law,
supporting.
Nina.
They can, but they
Briefly,
should be allowed to mourn a religious leader.
OK.
However abhorrent he is to us.
Damn, Nina just spitting hot fire at these guys. I mean, the guy who claimed to be an activist as well as being a pub landlord, saying there, we don't like him, just prescribe them terrorists, then we can stop all of these visuals, not even protests. He wants to stop visuals from happening now. What a disastrous segment from top to bottom. And it was just super distracting that they had the still image of Jerusalem, Israel there for God knows what. Like, we didn't even get the spectacle of rockets landing there. So I don't know why they kept that up on the screen and kept the contributors really, really tiny in the corner. But yeah, that was just a tour de force in the ripping up of freedom of speech, not liking someone and therefore saying they have no right to do anything. GB News is very, very good at that. Yeah, tell me down below, what did you think? I would love to read it. So this video ran on for a bit longer than I usually do, but I think it's very, very important, because once we understand politics and the dog whistles certain people use, then the better choices we will make. Please don't forget to hit the buttons for like, subscribe, and I will see you very, very soon. Ciao.